I know that a lot of us have been in this truth for some time, and we're very much aware of the curses that have been brought upon the sons and the daughters of the living Elohim Yahweh. And oftentimes we don't think that it's worthy to go over those curses. But I find that it's necessary that we visit them and look at them continually. Often you're going to hear, can you see my screen, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to read through these because on Shabbat, I know we're not going to have enough time to go through it. I'm not going over chapter number 27. We've covered that before. It talks about those curses that, Yah spitting upon the individual who commits these acts, and a majority of them were sexual. There's 12 of them, but the last one says anyone who doesn't keep the words of this Torah, or to lift it up and to cause the Torah to be lifted up in their lives, to guard them. Moshe begins this next part of his conversation with them the day that he's giving this out. He says, listen, if you listen closely to what Yahweh, your Elohim, says, observing and obeying all his mitzvot, which I'm giving today, Yahweh, your Elohim, will raise you high above all the nations of the earth. Looking at that, and I want to go to the Hebrew because it's so important, because I left off on Yom Kamishi talking about this idea of us being Elyon, okay? And Elyon has to do with being lifted up high. I mean, it's the highest degree that anyone could ever be lifted. It's actually one of the titles and designations that the Most High has for himself. So when we look at that title of being Elyon, is demanding of us because it's a designation. If you even look at that word designation, you can chop it down. It has the word design in it, right? So as a designation, there's a design. So by design, Yah has decided to raise a group of people up above every single group on the face of the earth. And this is the reason why things can be really good for us, but also the very reason why things have been very, very bad and difficult for us, because there's a higher level. I always use the word elevate, which is another word for ascending, like an olah offering. We have to ascend. We have to rise and rise and lift ourselves up to a certain level and standard of thinking. This is where it's at. It's about our thought life, right? So he says, it shall come to pass, wahaya im that is shamoah. And this shamoah right here is in an infinitive absolute. In grammar, it means that it's emphatic, meaning that it's supposed to happen all the time. It's always going to be. It's never going to be, I'm going to listen sometimes and other times I'm not. And so this is the reason why a lot of people don't want to come over to this side, because it means that they not only are they supposed to listen and heed to what he says, but also too, you have to obey what Yah says, and you have to obey his voice. And we're going to get really into the voice part later on in Shabbat. Okay, later on Shabbat, if Yah willing, we'll go talk about that B'Kol Yahweh, right? Or Eloheka. But it's talking to us. These are words that you and I know about. Lishmor, meaning shamar, to guard, and to la'asof, to continually look. There's an infinitive on that as well, on both of those things. Right here, let me show you. Right here. Like there's things that you and I will always do. You would always go to the bathroom. You always have to eat. You always have to do certain things. It's just part of the experience. So as long as we're on the earth, this is what you and I are supposed to do. And we're the people that have been called to do this. Okay. So you have to have the right mindset. And it says all of his commandments, in which here, I, Anoki and Mitzabaka, I'm teaching you on the Hayom on this day. And Unathanaka, Yahweh is going to set and give you Eloheka. He's going to give you Elyon. Here it is again. There it is again. That's the second time that he mentions this. Not just high, but Elyon. Far above. Okay, above everybody. The letters here, this this ayin and this lamed is the same that's right here. Okay. So the word Elyon and the word all are connected just by not only their letters, but also in meaning. Okay. And it means, what does the ayin mean? Somebody tell me. What does that letter represent from a human perspective?
The eyes.
The eyes, right? So the ayin is the eye. Okay. It's the eye. Right. So you notice how we keep using our bodies to talk about this. And the lamed right here means what?
Authority, staff.
The staff or the authority. Okay. So it's the eye, right? And that you do the eye, you look to the staff. Okay. Right. You're looking to the staff, but also too, the eye gives you experience. So it's experiencing the staff, it's experiencing the authority. Okay. That's what it means. It means to experience. Because everything that you and I see, that's our experience. So I need you to experience the staff. So Yah is letting us know the only way, and okay, I wish this would, okay, here you go. The staff is represented by this letter Lamed, right? And that name of that in particular letter is called a Lamed, Lamed. Okay. That's what it's called, a Lamed. Okay. That's what it means. Lamed here means to learn. And it means to teach. Okay. So Yah is saying, in order for us to get to this level of Elyon, okay, which is the highest level, is not me just picking you. I'm not just picking you to be Elyon. I'm not just choosing you and I'm being partial in my judgment and say, well, you know, you're the most numerous, so that's why I picked you. No, I picked you because I love you, first of all, but I picked you for the purpose of making you Elyon. And the only way that you and I can ever get there is by learning by Yah's staff and by his authority. That's the only way. Okay. If you notice, you have the Lamed as well in here. And we know that the Kaf is the palm of the what?
And
And then you got, what you got in the palm of the hand is the staff. And this means what? All, everything. That's what it means. Kol, right? So kol means everything, but it's a matter of bringing everything into control. Okay. So what it is, in order for us to go to this level, this Elyon, in order to do that, you and I have to be put under control. And what puts us under control is Yahweh's commands that Anoki, that Moshe would teach us, his mitzvah or his mitzvotah. Okay. That's what Yah says. That's what controls us. That's what's taming us. All right. And the real reason is because once you do this, I'm going to get the nations of the earth to see it. They need to see it for themselves. So I'm going to use you as the example to bring you under the control and bring you under the authority of the supreme master of the heavens. And so therefore the nations will understand this and they will know this. Okay. The name of our Torah portion this week is called Tavo, right? It has the T and then, and then Vo, which is really a T and an A and a B and an O. Okay. And so the root of it is Bo. And Bo means to go or to come. Okay. That's what it means. And a T here means you, because it's added on to the front of the word. So really Tavo means you will go or you will come. So he says, when you come into the land, this is what it's going to be. Okay. And the reason why Yah has chosen this land is simply because he promised it to our fathers, but also too, it is a training ground. That's what it is. I'm using this land as a training ground for you. This is where you'll be able to execute everything I'm asking you to do. The expectation is for you to do everything I'm saying while you're in the land. What's interesting about our Torah portion is that this word tavo, or 935 right here, bo, it's right in here too. Okay. And what is it saying? He says, and so what I picked up through the Torah lesson so far is that this bow or this coming into means that something will come to you, not just when you come to the land, something will come to you. Okay. Once you go and you come into the land, uva u, that means and to you, plurality, third person, you guys will come upon you. You see again that I and again, there's the I and there's the staff. So you're going to experience what? I'm experiencing the authority. I'm experiencing the leadership. I'm experiencing it. Okay. So elecha means I'm going to put the staff upon you. And what? I'm going to give you what? All of the habarakot, which are the blessings. And then he tells us what these blessings are. So the blessings will come too. But the blessings are only going to come if you and I would shamoa. That means if you and I will continue to infinitively listen to what he says and guard and do what I'm asking you to do. So you can go to that level, so you can rise above all peoples. This is what makes us great. Okay. And he says, and here's a word here, this hisaguka right here, the word hisaguka, I will overtake you. These things will overtake you. All right. I wanted to grab hold of you and go past because you what? You tishma. Okay. You're going to tishma. This top right here is you. And shema means you listened. And listen means that you obeyed. Not that you just heard what I said, but you actually listened to what I said. You considered it and you did it. So blessing for us is based upon the obedience of what Yah has said, but it's always going to be this bakor. It's always going to have to do with Yah's voice. Yah's voice is the words that he has spoken to us through his prophet Moshe, and also the words that our ancestors heard, okay? The Yahweh Elohecha, his voice. So ultimately, the only voice that really matters is the voice that belongs to him. And you and I have to put confidence in Moshe, right? And he has proven it that, hey, if you listen to what I'm saying. So Moshe is given a different narrative. If you look at any of the other writings from the New Testament or any other book, you will find that their message is quite different. They never use Yahweh's name. Moshe does. He always says Yahweh said, and Yah instructs you. And this is what you need to do. So that's why he's called Moshe Rabbeinu, he meaning our great teacher, our great master. Okay. There are 6 different Baruchs here. Okay. And Baruch here you go. Baruch here means blessed. Okay. But that's an abstract term. And here's a participle. So it's an ing. So it's blessing you. It's a continual thing that's always going to come to you, which is the word bo. It's always going to come to you. Tavo, it will come to you. Okay. And what I found to be interesting is that he uses the phrase here, Baruch atah. You guys hear me often pray and I say, Baruch atah Yahweh. Okay. The same words that we bless him with is the same blessing that's coming to us. The power of the blessing, it only comes from Yah. It's only coming through obedience. And he says, I'm going to bless you in your city. I'm going to bless you in Uvaruk. I'm going to Uvaruk atah. I'm going to bless you in the Basadeh. I'm going to bless you in your field, in your country. Okay. These blessings only pertain to the land. Okay. It only pertains to the land. The blessing here is the Baruch Puri. I'm going to bless the fruit of your womb. That's the third blessing. I'm going to bless the peri. The peri means fruit of your vintika. Okay. The vintika is a woman's womb. And I'm also going to get it to ufari. I'm going to give you the fruit of the ground. The admati. I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to give you the fruit of your wounds of the herds. I'm going to give that to you. Right. And it's only going to happen in the land. And I'm going to shagir, I'm going to increase your cattle and your offspring and your flocks. Now, to us, this seems like, this is foreign and it's abstract to us because we don't have any cattle. And see, this is the reason why when I went and I, bless her soul, my mother, I went and told her, I said, hey, I'm following this new way of life. And she said, well, that's the ancient way. That's the ancient way. That's old. That's old school. That's thousands of years ago. That doesn't apply today. Why? Because she didn't have any concept or any understanding about the produce of the ground. She didn't understand why it was important to have cattle. Your cattle and your children and your flocks were all in your herds were indicative of your wealth. A person that had this had wealth, and that's what the wealth that Yah has considered for his children, and also included in that is the gold, the silver, and the precious stones in that as well. But those are different than what you and I have been given in the land of our captivity. We don't really understand what it is. We don't take these things into consideration because they feel like they're not applicable. So any work that you and I do, all the work, and let me put it this way, all the work that you and I are doing for other people, listen to me carefully, is, we might have some good jobs. We might be doing something for the community. We might be working with, whoever. But the fact of the matter is that we were not designed to do that. So this is where the conflict comes in, because we're not designed to be here. We're designed to be Elyon. And you and I are not Elyon right now. We're not the highest of the peoples, because the environment we're in, and also because of the things that our ancestors have done and brought us to this place. So now you and I are thinking that we're like everyone else. And that's where things have to be changed. Okay. And so in order to go somewhere, they say that the mind is very powerful. If you go there first in your mind, that's the first place everything happens. Then eventually wherever your mind goes, that's where you're going to go. Okay. So you and I are setting our minds in a different place by when we look at the Torah. And you should expect that this is going to be the narrative when you go back to the land, because you and I will have to bring Yah offerings. And there will be sheep, there will be oxen, there will be rivers, there will be fruit of the land. There will be things that we'll be doing with our hands. Yah has designed our hands to bring forth work so he can bless our hands. Okay. And then he says, I'm going to bless you when you come in. There's that Bavok Eka right here. When you come in, that's our Torah portion. Vo. Here it is. Bavok Eka. When you go in and when you come out, every part of your life and aspect, everything that you do. When he's talking about going in, he's talking about when you go into any situation, whether that's in the field or out of the field. When you're coming out of the field, you're going to be blessed. When you're going into your home, when you come out of your home, you see? And so this is different. This is different for the Elyon, okay? And I'm going to start calling us that. I hope you don't mind, but you're an Elyon. You're the highest of people. And Yatain, verse number 7, he said he will cause Yahweh for your enemies, okay? And I'm reading from right to left to the Hakukim, to rise up. Whoever rises alecha upon you or against you, they shall be nigafim, okay? Nigafim here is to be defeated. I will crush them constantly before the lafaneka. Why? They would come out you in one way, and then you're going to go out them alecha 7 ways. Okay, so they'll come against you, but after I deal with them on your behalf, they're leaving 7 ways, meaning they're going to leave in a very perfect fashion. You'll know that it was I who did this for you because of the manner in which they leave. Okay, and so verse number 8 says, and then Yah, which was interesting. Verse number 8 here says Yatzav. Tzav is a command, but if you look underneath it, it has this PL, which is a very forceful way, as we discussed before. We haven't gotten to this right here, which are the conjugations. Okay. Conjugations talk about things that are in what tense they were in, they're perfect or imperfect, whether they were commands or whatnot. So there's 8 different conjugations. This one right here is called adjessive. Okay. And adjessive is when you're speaking about a third party, and the third party right here is Yahweh. It says that Yahweh will have not only a command, but a desire. Okay. It's Yah's desire to put something on you. Okay. So you and I are in a great place when we're doing what he says. He says Yah's desire is to itikadi et habaraka. I want to put the habaraka on you. I want to put the increase. That's what I want to do, because blessing in this context deals with increase. Everything about a blessing is increasing. I increase the fruit of the land, the fruit of your what? Your body. I'm going to increase the fruit of your animals. I'm going to increase the fruit of everything. So everything that you and I do, it will be blessed. So what do? You put your hands on bodies, you put your hands on animals, and you put your hand on the land. So it's a very active way of life, and it's a very active blessing. It's not this blessing of imaginary and we, change the fruit here into something else. And this is what a lot of people they really don't like. They don't understand it, okay? Because this has to do with life. This is life, okay? Yah's desire is to put this blessing so he can fill up your barns and your storage facilities and all that you send your hand. That's what I want to bless. I want to bless your hands. Your yadaka. That's what I want. Why do I want to bless your hands? Tell me, somebody, why do you think Yah wants to bless your hands?
Use them to work. Use them.
Yes. You use them to work. You're using them to work. You're working the land. You're managing the things in which I told you. You're using these hands to do a lot of things. You're using to work. You're using them to more specifically to build. You're using them to plant. You're using them to harvest. You're using them to even in discipline. You're using them to discipline. You're using them to fight off your enemies. You're using them to wield a sword. You're using them to show compassion. You're using your hands all the time, you see? And it has to do with the reason why he created them. So when you and I are not using our hands in the things in which he wants for us, then that's not really the blessing. That's not a blessing. It's the mercy and his compassion that Yah has shown to us. But he says, I'm talking about that from where you send your hand. This is not what you said, it's sin. Mishlak means to send. Not just to set, it's to send. Okay, I want you to send wherever you send your hands. Look at it, shalak. Outstretching what? Your hands. Comes from shalak. Right here, the Hebrew right here, shalak. It comes from shalak. There it is. Okay, so wherever you stretch your hand out, you send your hand. Okay, I want to send your hands out and I want to bless them. That's the desire. All right. Also, too, I'm gonna finish your hand and look, and Uvaraka, he's gonna bless your hand in the land. That's where I want to do it. That's what I'm telling you. I want to do it in the land. Okay, in which down here, Asher Yahweh Eloheka noten laka. I'm going to bless your hands in the land that I am giving to you. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Not only am I going to do that, but I'm going to establish Yahweh you. He will establish you, Yahweh, to himself as a La'am Kadosh. I'm going to establish you as my own personal people. So I have a personal land. You're the people. What? Kadesher di Nishba. I swore. Yahweh swore to us that he would make us to him as a people. That's what he said. This right here, that he has sworn to you. Okay. I'm going to do that for you. And he did that on that what? On that day. He says, Ki tishmoreth mitzvah. It's not if. That word right there for key is not if. I keep saying it because they keep mistranslating it. It's when. It's not if, because if it's going to be in, but it's not in. Okay. It is when you tishmor. That means when you guard the commandments of Yahweh your Eloheka. I don't like that if. It's not if, it's when. And wahalakakta, when you wahalakakta the bid the rakav and you walk in his ways. Yah says that you will be established as my people. So what you and I are doing right now is we're going through the process of making up our minds so he can find out whether or not you and I are going to be wholehearted with him. His desire is to put the Torah in us, not just so you and I will be taught by someone. He doesn't want us to have people teaching us anymore. But the first thing he wants to see, though, is, A, are they willing to listen? Okay. Number 10, and all the peoples of the earth. Now, this is the reason, as I stated earlier, Wadra'u, meaning, and they will see all the peoples of the earth. I want all the peoples of the earth to see what key the name of Yahweh to be upon you. I want them to know that my name, my shame is Yahweh, is Nikra. It's on you. You're being called by my name, and Alecha is on you. That hear you is not doing a service. You see the ayin and you see the lamed, and then you see the ka, Alecha. That all again is that the experience of the staff, these people of the earth have seen that I'm upon you and I'm calling you by my name. And that's what makes you an Elyon. You and I have to listen to what I'm telling you. No one ever told us this. We have to earn this. You got to earn this. There is no, you just get it because you're my child. You get, if you're my child, you're supposed to be doing this. So this is what you have to do. So you have to put forth work and you have to put forth effort. The New Testament tells you that it's not by works. Remember, it's all by faith. But he says, I've called you and put this upon you in order for the people, when they see this, the people are supposed to be afraid of you. Why? Because my name is on you. I've declared it. And they should know that. And they will be afraid of you. Is anybody afraid of us right now?
No.
On a national level, are they afraid? Are they afraid to say the wrong thing to us? Are they afraid to do anything to us?
No.
No. So obviously, right, they haven't seen it, which we're going to talk more about on Shabbat. They haven't, he wants the peoples, I've been saying, for them to see, right? And he wants them to be afraid. He wants them to literally walk and be terrified. You understand? And have fear. This word, Yahru, meaning Yahweh, as we went over before, is fear. The fear is not only to be afraid and scared, but the fear is to say, I want to learn from you. This is why they're going to say, hey, take us to go see your Elohim. It's not the fear that we put off, it's the fear of Yahweh that they're afraid of that's on us. Okay? Yah wants to do something. What he wants to do is he wants to continue, and this is something we don't really understand. He wants to continue to do real good things for us. He wants to continue to open up the wombs of our women. You understand? He wants the family to be increased. Verse number 11, Yahweh, the hatova, the podria, the bitanaka. I want that womb that always be fruitful. I want the womb of your wife to be fruitful. I want the womb of your livestock to be fruitful. I want to always give it fruit, because the fruit is the what? The blessing. You understand? And the ufuri, not produce, and the fruit of the ground. I want that. And the ha'adama, which what? This is interesting. He tells us earlier in verse number 8 that he said, I swore to you to be your Elohim. Verse number 11 here, he says that in the land which Yahweh Nishba Yahweh, this Nishba right here is the Shawah, meaning seven. Yahweh, he made an oath to who? He made an oath to what? To give us a land. So there's two ones. He made an oath to our La Abotheka, to our fathers, to Lathe, to you. Okay, so I swore, I nishba Yahweh to give you this land. So I swore to you that I would be your Elohim. That's what I swore to you. I swore to your ancestors to make you fruitful in the land. Okay, because I told your fathers that if you would do what I say, then I would bless you. Okay. And also too, I want to yifkak, I want to open Yahweh Laka, what? I want to open something else up for you. I want to open up my treasure. And this has to do with the treasures, the hatovadi at the hashamayim. There's treasures that are inside the heavens. And often we just say that it's rain. But there's something about the rain that comes down on our land that makes it a blessing. This is not ordinary rain. Okay. This is not ordinary rain. The rain that Yah has is special for that land. That's what's going to make it very fruitful. It's the soil content that's there, but also too, the chemical compound that's in the rain, which is the nitrogen. It's rich in nitrogen. Yah can control what type of rain it gets. The rain is the blessing. It's one of the treasures. Okay. He's just say not just the treasure of the clouds. I want the treasure of the rain that's in the Shamayim. Okay. I'm going to show you, and we're going to read it. I'm going to move as soon as I finish this in the blessing in the Baruch. I'm going to move to the curses, but we're going to read through those. Okay. So I'm going to give that to you right in your land. So the rain is coming down and the matar is coming on the Artsakai. It's your land. It's not somebody else's. There's other rain that Yah has, and I'm going to show you that rain. This rain here is the Debeito in its season. This rain comes at the time it's supposed to, and Ula Valdrek et all of the works of your hands. Listen carefully. Yah's telling us that if I don't give you this, your hands won't be blessed. So it's not just the work that you're doing with your hands that's going to make it blessed. There's something that I got to put to it in order for your hands to be blessed. See, look at what he says. And I want to bless all the work of your hands. And the only way that I can do that is by sending this rain in its season. Because that's the treasure that I'm going to give to you for all your hard work. Well, we don't see it as hard, a treasure. We don't understand it. You know, right now, the nations are experiencing water shortages all over the place. And a lot of them are getting some bad stuff. You see? So Yah says, I'm going to do this for you, but also too, I want you to lend to nations, but you shall never borrow for them. And I will, I will give to you, Yahweh, what? The levrosh, and you're not going to be the tail. You're going to be the head. And you shall exist, rock only, what? The only thing that you and I will have to exist as, not shall only be, but this means to exist. You're going to exist only above and not beneath. When what? When we do what Yahweh says. See, it's all contingent upon our obedience to what he says. We're almost done with the blessing. He says, not key, it's not if, it's when. When Tishma, he's just telling us again, when you, that Tav right there, Shema, listen and hear and obey, Eth or El Mitzvot, all the commandments, Yahweh Eloheka, in which I, Moshe, commanded you on this day. Well, I'm not in the land. I don't have to do that. Okay. Whole different topic. He said, Lishmon Tala Sof. Not only do you supposed to, listen to them and obey them, but I need you to lishmor, meaning I need you to be careful to guard them, Tala Sof, to do them. That means including all your moedims, your Shabbat, your diet, all those different types of things. Okay. And then he says, the walo, do not tasur, do not turn aside from mikol, any of the hadavarim. The name of our book that we're in, or the scroll, is called Davarim. So very important. He's telling us, I'm pointing you directly. This ha right here, this hey or ha, is an article meaning this. These words that I'm telling you, don't you ever turn aside from, don't tasur, don't you turn, do not turn. And this low right here means never. Don't you ever turn from what I'm saying, which I am commanding you today. So the idea that, we can look at some other understanding or some other teaching or some other doctrine or something like that, that's where we made our mistake. Because he says, in which I am, don't you turn from the right and don't you turn to the left. Lalaketh, and go what? Do not walk and live, because that's what your life is. Don't you live after any other Elohim. Nobody, no New Testament, no Quran, nothing, or an abdab them. Do not do that. That's what it is. Okay? I don't want you to do those things. But let me share with you some of these curses. Very simple. Now, the blessings are from verse number 1 all the way down to 14, and then 15 it changes. It says this, but if you refuse to pay attention to what Yahweh Elohim says and do not observe to obey his commandments, his regulations, which is the kukim, which I am giving you today, then all the following curses will be yours in abundance. Okay. The qualala, which I told you again, qualala means to make you worthless. Everything I'm about to say to you, I'm going to make you light in stature, and I'm going to make you literally worthless. You're going to be worthless in the eyes of everybody. I'm going to curse you in your city. I'm going to curse you in your countryside. I'm going to curse you in your field. I'm going to curse your grain basket, your kneading bowl. I'm going to curse your body. Okay. I'm going to curse your fruit of your land, the fruit of your body, the young and of your cattle and your flocks. I'm cursing it. I'm going to spit upon it. And that's that word curse right there is a roar. It's the same one that's used over in chapter number 27. Okay. I'm spitting on you. Okay. You, instead of you getting a blessing coming in and a blessing going out, I'm going to spit on you when you go in and when you go out. So you'll get signs all over the place to tell you you're not welcome, and you go use the back door. Okay. Yahweh will send on you curses and disasters and frustration, everything you set out to do, your hands, everything, your family, until you're destroyed. Okay. And quickly perish because of your evil actions in abandoning me. That's the reason why. Okay. Yahweh will bring a plague on you that will stay with you until he has exterminated you from the land you're entering in order to take possession of it. In this chapter, you guys, it's going to be talking about different times. Often we like to attribute all this to our situation that happened 400 years ago when we went into slavery. This has to do with thousands of years. It talks about their king. It talks about what's happening in their land. It talks about why they're in their land. It talks about them putting out of their land. It talks about when they go other people's lands. And finally, it talks about the end where your descendants end up going. Okay. So there's an abundance amount of curses here. There's an abundance amount of locations, and it's all over the place. Listen what Yah says. The sky over your head will be brass, and the earth underneath you, right, or iron. I'm going to turn the environment over. Okay. Yahweh will return your rain. I told you earlier that we got the blessing of the rain with a different type of rain. Yah says, I'm going to turn your rain that your land needs into powder. So you see that he has a different rain that he can send. He can send powder. He can send dust that will fall on you from the sky until you're destroyed. So he keeps telling us over and over again, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to exterminate you. I'm going to get rid of you. I'm going to get you out of the land, because that which goes with the land is the Torah. Okay. This is the reason why he plans on giving it to us and putting it inside of us, so you and I will never, ever have to leave the land again. 26, and Yahweh will cause you to be defeated before your enemies instead of you being, be victorious. You will advance on them in one way, and you will flee before them 7. You will become an object of horror to every kingdom on the earth. Your carcasses will be the food for all the birds in the air and the wild animals, and there will be no one to scare them away. So I'm going to feed the birds with your bodies. Yahweh will strike you down with boils and that broke out in Mizraim. So you're getting that. You're getting skin lesions. You're getting itching, all incurable. You will never heal from these things. Yahweh will strike you with insanity, blindness, and utter confusion. You will grope about at noonday like a blind person groping in the dark, unable to find your way. You will be continually oppressed and robbed, and there will be no one to Mashiach. There won't be no one. There's not only there will be no one, there is no one to save you. Okay, from this, you will get engaged to a woman, but another man will marry her. You will build a house, but you will not live in it. So if you notice, everything he's talking about has to do with our hands. Men, remember, once you put your hands on something, it belongs to you. So he's saying, if you engage, if you take a wife, that means to lakak, take something with your hand. You take a wife to you. Somebody else is going to take her from you. You build a house with your hands. You're not going to live in it. All the work that you have done is not going to be for nothing. You will plant a vineyard, but you will not use its fruit with your hands. Your ox will be slaughtered before your own eyes. Your wealth be taken from you, but you won't eat any of its meat. Your donkey, the labor force that you have to help you along the way, will be taken away from you by force as you watch, and you won't get it back. You're going to continually be robbed. Your sheep will be given to your enemies. See, so all this is happening while they're in their land, and there will be no one to help you. Again, there is no Mashiach. There's no helper here. Your sons and your daughters will be handed over to another people. You will watch for them longing day, all day, but you won't see them. And there'll be nothing you can do about it. This is not talking about just when you and I came over to the Americas. It's literally talking about even when they were in their land, this happened. A nation unknown to you will eat the fruit of your land. They're still in your land and your labor. Everything you're working for is nothing. Yes, you will be continually oppressed and crushed. Right. Why? Because for whatever reason, you didn't want to follow what I said, till you go crazy from what your eyes are seeing, right? Yahweh will strike you down in the knees and legs with painful, incurable boils, and they will spread from the sole of your foot to the crown of your head. I'm going to hit you hard. Yahweh will bring on you and your king, right? It was in the land, whom you have put over yourselves to a nation you have not known. Neither you nor your ancestors in there you shall serve other gods made of wood and stone. That's talking about when Yah sent them out from northern Israel to the land of Shur, and he's also talking about sending them to Babylon. Okay, so that's right there, and you can see that in the book of Jeremiah, when there Hezekiah the king, he got taken and he brought him over to Babylon. Okay, so you can see that this is still talking about why they're in their land. You will be so devastated as to become a proverb and a laughing stock among all the peoples to which Yahweh will drive you. So the whole time, some of them are leaving, some of them are staying. Some are being driven out, a lot of them being killed. All kind of bad stuff is happening. You will carry much seed out into the field, but you will gather little in. That's that gather in, meaning the bowl when you come in, because the locusts will devour it. I'm going to send the locusts after you. Okay, so I'm not only talking about people coming to get you, I'm also going to use the insects to come and get you too. They're going to devour everything that you put your hand to. You will plant vineyards, okay, and dress them, but neither you drink the wine nor gather the grapes, because the worms will eat it. So I got the locusts working for me. They go eat everything, and also too, the worms are going to eat your stuff too. I got them working for me too. So you can see that Yah's literally against his people. You see, and he's going to tell us why. You will have olive trees throughout your territory. They're still in their land, but you will not anoint yourself with oil, because your olives will fall off unripe. They will fall off not in their season. I'm going to cause to change the seasons. So things are not going to work out well for you, because all the seasons are connected, and especially for you, according to the Torah. You will father sons and daughters, but they won't belong to you, because they will go into captivity. See? The bugs, I'm going to put the bugs, and they will inherit all your trees and the produce of your land. So I got them working for me too. The foreigner living with you in your land will rise up higher and higher, while you sink lower and lower. He will lend to you, but you will not lend to him. Just the opposite of what he said about the blessing. See, he will be the head, and you will be the tail. All these curses will come on you, pursuing you. I'm gonna pursue you. I'm gonna persecute you and overtake you. Like I told you, the blessing will overtake you. I'm telling you that this is going to reach out and get you until you are destroyed, because you didn't pay attention to what Yahweh, your Elohim, said. By observing his mitzvot and regulations that he gave you. This is the reason why all these things are going to happen. The curses will be on you and your descendants as a sign and a wonder forever. Now, let me make this clear. This word forever, again, is a word that's called olam, O-L-A-M. And olam means not forever. It just means a time that you can't see. It's a time in the distant past, or it's a time in the distant future. So you can't see it, but it is a time, okay? So Yah has a certain time. When he talks about forever here, folks, he's not talking about for eternity. He's saying until the time is up, okay? Until it's time in the distant future, okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you. So why? Why is this happening? It's happening because you didn't pay attention, because you didn't serve Yahweh your Elohim with joy and gladness. Remember, he told you when you have your tithes and your offerings, you bring those first fruits to me. I want you to come, you and your family, and I want you to what? I want you to take joy, and I want you to celebrate. Where? In the place that I told you, right? When you had such an abundance of everything. So what happened was the children of Israel got very lazy and they got complacent, okay? And they got spoiled, okay? And because they were spoiled and because they had everything and everything in abundance of everything, they said, we don't have to go ahead and serve Yahweh no more. We don't have to live in the manner that he told us. We got everything we need. And that's what happens often when we get everything that we need, we forget to serve Yah. And Yah's telling us, don't forget me. But also too, in everything I told you, and joy and gladness has to do in the manner. Remember, he said, I think it was on Yom Shalishi that I told you that Yah says, when you come to me and you bring your offering to me that's been set apart, you got to come and you got to bring it with joy and gladness. You can't do it in mourning. So, and this is to prove that I'm your Elohim. That's what if you're bringing stuff to me and you're celebrating and you're having joy because of what you just received out of the harvest. That gladness is coming from that wine you've been drinking from the vine. It's because you did not glean all your fields. It's because you gave food to the Leviim and the widow and the stranger and the fatherless. Those are the things that if you don't do those things, you can't have any joy and gladness in your heart, which is your mind, because you haven't done what I asked you. Okay. When what? You had an abundance of everything. I've given you everything you need. But what Yah has given us is not enough for everybody. They want more. Okay. So Yahweh said, I will send your enemy against you, right? And you're going to serve him. Because you didn't serve me, you're going to serve him. So the only alternative for us as a people, as Elyon, is that if we don't serve Yahweh, we're going to serve somebody. And he's letting us know, I'm going to have you serve him. And the person you're going to serve is your enemy. Because remember, your whole intention when I brought you out of the land of Mizraim was that I hated you. And I didn't love you. And that's why I brought you to this land, because I hated you. And that's why I had you in the wilderness for 40 years. So I hated you. I didn't hate you. You're treating me like an enemy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an enemy against you. Often Yah sends an enemy. He sends an enemy. He sent Babylon. He sent Ashur. He sent the Philistines. He sent all kinds of enemies. Okay. And Yah does this in order to get our attention. And you're going to serve him. You don't want to serve me. You're going to serve your enemy now. And when you're hungry, right? When you're hungry and you're thirsty and you're poorly clothed and you're lacking everything, because that's what's going to happen now. Because you had the abundance of everything and you didn't want to serve me. Serve me means that you were saying that I am your servant and I'm going to listen to what you told me and I'm going to do what you said, and I'm going to guard all of your words. I'm going to guard it. I'm going to guard the diet. I'm going to guard the family. I'm going to guard my mouth. I'm going to guard my ears, my eyes. I'm going to guard it all. Okay. But if you don't, then this is what I'm going to do. You're going to serve him. Okay. And you're going to do it not full. You're going to do it hungry, thirsty, and poorly clothed. And you're going to lack everything. You're lacking everything. And guess what he's going to do? He's going to put a yoke of iron on your neck until he destroys you. So I can prove the point that you would rather serve me in abundance rather than to serve your enemy lacking everything. Okay. Yes, Yahweh will bring against you a nation from afar away that will swoop down on you from the end of the earth like a vulture, a nation whose language you don't understand, a nation grim in appearance, whose people neither respect the old nor pity the young. They will devour the offspring of your livestock and the produce of your soil. Okay, here again, we're not out of the land yet. Listen to that. They will devour the offspring of your livestock. Your livestock is in the land. Let's don't try to take this out of context and bring us like this nation here that came far away has to be the United States of America. Okay, they weren't even in business. Okay, so he's saying that your livestock and your produce of your soil, that's when his enemy's going to come until you have been destroyed. The goal is the curses are to get you out of the land, and I'm going to destroy every aspect of your life. If the Torah is your life and you won't follow the Torah, I'm going to destroy every other aspect of your life. You will never have any joy outside of the Torah. You will never have any happiness outside of the Torah. Never. You're never going to have it. Okay. You're never going to have any rest. You're never going to have any shalom. You're never going to have any security. You're never going to have food security. You're never going to have any of these things outside of the Torah. You see? They will leave you without grain. Where? When you're in your land. So I'm going to take your grain, I'm taking your wine, I'm taking your olive oil and your young cattle and your sheep, and that they have caused you to perish until they have caused you to perish. These are the things that I gave you in chapter number 8. I gave you grain, I gave you wine, I gave you olive oil, and I gave you cattle and the sheep, and I gave you everything. I gave you the abundance of everything, but you didn't want to serve me. You see? So that's your reward, right? So if you don't do your job as a servant, there's no reason for you to get paid, period. It's time for you to get destroyed, because now you've taken a position of being an enemy of mine. What I found to be interesting, I want to finish this out since there's a few more verses, because on Shabbat, we're not going to have time. They will besiege you in all your towns. So they're still in their land, folks, until your high wall, your fortified walls in which you trusted collapse everywhere in your land. You're still in the land, which Yahweh Elohim gave you. Then, because of the severity of the siege and the distress that your enemies are inflicting on you, you will eat the offspring of your own body. So now Yahweh's going to turn you over to cannibalism in the flesh of your own sons and daughters, of whom Yahweh Elohim has given you. Even the most gentle and sensitive man among you will be without pity for his brother, his beloved wife, and the surviving children, to the degree that he will refuse to share with any of them the flesh of his children whom he's eating. Because if he did, he would have nothing left for himself. In the severity of the siege, where in their land, and the distress, because your enemies are inflicting on you in all your towns. Side note, when Israel was being attacked and being besieged by Babylon, the Babylonians took meat, because they knew they didn't have any food. They took meat and barbecued meat and food on the outside of the walls, because the people don't have any food. And then when they smelled it, it caused their appetite to go really, really, hungry. And then that's when that eating your kids commenced to happen. Okay. So if you do your history, you look at it, and you find out how the Babylonians did them. This is a true statement. They set on fire food and meat in order to make the smoke. I think in restaurants today, what they do is they put onions on a grill. So when you're walking past a restaurant, you smell something, they got onions. That's the first thing they do, is to put onions on the grill to cause you that sense to go. And you'd be like, oh, I want to eat something. So that's what they did here. They put food on grills and they made that scent go over, and the people just couldn't take it. So they ate their own kids. Not only is the man did this in 56, the most delicate, sensitive woman among you would do the same thing. She's going to eat her own kids. She's going to eat her placenta. She's going to eat it all. Okay. And she said, look, she will secretly eat the afterbirth that comes out of her. And even her own children, as she bears them, she's eating them as they're coming out of her. So desperately hungry will she be in the severity of the siege and distress your enemies are inflicting on you in your towns. This is what's going on. Okay. And that's because they didn't follow the Torah. If you will not observe and obey all the words of this Torah that are written in this book, so that you will fear the glorious and awesome name of Yahweh your Elohim, then Yahweh will strike you and your descendants with extraordinary plagues, okay, and severe sicknesses that will go on and on. And he will bring back upon you all the diseases that the Egyptians had, which you were in dread of, and they will cling to you. Not only that, but Yahweh will bring upon you all the sicknesses and the plagues that are not written in this book of the Torah until you are destroyed. Elyon. Yahweh's going to leave us few in number, whereas you used to be numerous as the stars in the sky. I'm going to cut down your numbers. Why? Because you didn't pay attention. We didn't pay attention to the call of Yahweh, the voice of Yahweh, our Elohim. Thus, it will come about. This word come right here is bow again, tabo. It will come about, just as Yahweh once had took joy in seeking to do you good and increase your numbers. So now Yahweh will take joy in causing you to perish. Yahweh's going to take joy in destroying us. He's going to take joy in making us be killed. He's going to take joy. Okay. And I know this upsets a lot of us because we want the God that used to say, I love everybody. Yah does not love his enemies. He doesn't. You will be plucked off the land you are entering in order to take possession of it. That's the goal. Okay. So the land is the landscape. okay, that you and I are supposed to work from. The land is our security. Yahweh will scatter you. Now here, this is what happened, and this is why you and I are here. Okay, so everything above is what happened to our ancestors. 64 is the descendants. Okay, Yahweh will scatter you among all the peoples from one end of the earth to the other, and there you will serve other gods. So I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. You're going to serve gods of wood and stone, which neither you nor your ancestors have known. You don't yada them, you don't know them, but I'm going to send you there on purpose so you can serve these gods. Okay, and among these nations you will not find any repose, meaning you're not going to find any rest, and there'll be no rest for the soles of your foot. Rather, Yahweh will give you their anguish of heart, which is mind, dimness of eyes, and apathy of spirit. I'm going to tear you down. Your life will hang in doubt before you. You will be afraid night and day and have no assurance that you will stay alive. In the morning, you will say, oh, I wish that it were evening, a rev. And in a rev, you would say, oh, I wish it was morning. Because the fear overwhelming your heart and your mind and the sights of your eyes will see. You're going to see some bad stuff. And finally, Yahweh will bring you back in ships to Mitzrayim, the place of which I said to you, you will never see it again. And there you will try to sell yourselves to your enemies, but no one will buy you. Let me give you clarification. I have a few moments. This is the second Egypt. Egypt is a dual plural. Okay. So it's not just one Egypt. There's two of them. It's a dual plural. Like you got two what? Hands. You got two what? Eyes. You got two ears. You got two legs. You understand? You got two arms. Those are called dual plurals. Mitzrayim is a dual plural. There's two of them. Okay. And so we are in the place of Mitzrayim. We're in the second place of it. But Yah says that he's going to bring you back to this place. Okay, because there wasn't any they didn't leave there in ships. They didn't leave there in ships. But a lot of scholars and a lot of people who hate us say, and there you will try to sell yourselves. That's a hitpael as slaves to your enemies, but no one will buy you. Well, let me explain this to you. When he's saying that you're not going to have any, there's no one who's going to save you. There's no one who's going to buy you, meaning like what we were going to try to attempt to do is to find somebody else to be our owner. In a sense of like, well, since we're out here now, we want to join up and be with you now. And then you would treat us like, like we belong to you. We don't belong to anybody except for the Most High. Okay. Yah says, I've sold you, but no one ever got paid. Okay. Your sins, right? He said, I sold my people got sold for what? Zippo, nothing, but you were sold because of your sins. Okay. So this right here is us. This right here is us, starting here in 64. This is us. Okay, from one end to the other. So we're all over the place. Could you imagine what our people have experienced all over the different nations? Could you imagine what it is for like them? We're not the only people here in the United States of America. The nation of Israel, the upper northern nation, has been scattered since 722 BCE. Thousands of years ago. Okay. Thousands of years ago, they were scattered. That's when the process began. Then the tribe of Judah, I don't want to be off, about 150 years later, something I think like I got to double check on that number. So don't hold me to that. But I think in 586, that was the last invasion. And then they came, they were in Babylon, and then the Persians came, and then they went from Persia and they came back to the land. Some of them came back, but not all of them. So no one has ever fully made it back into the land. The nations, we've been scattered and we haven't been brought back. We're going to talk more about the gathering process. I want to go over those curses because I want you to know that our Elohim means what he says. And he says what he means. And this has been the history for our people and for our ancestors and our people today. Yah keeps his word. And he's not joking. He's not playing with us. Did you notice how he said, I'm going to have you're going to eat your own kids? You notice how he says he's going to take joy in destroying you? You see? But there's another side of that too. Just like he said, I'm going to take joy in doing that, I'm also going to take joy in taking you back. After my anger has subsided and after I see that you have done what I said. Okay. There's coming a day when Yah says it's over. And then when it's over, it's over. Well, look how long it's taken. You know, if you read the Psalms, it always talks about, well, how long is this going to take, Yah? That's always a question you and I have. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that on Shabbat. Any remarks? Any questions, contributions, comments?
I found it very interesting that what you said about the Babylonians barbecuing food, and the scent went to the people, over to the people's side, and made them hungry, and that's what caused them to eat their young, their babies.
Yeah. Yeah, they did that. Yeah, they besieged us for months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can't go outside. You're locked in. You're surrounded. Okay, you're completely surrounded, and you can't come out. They starve you to death. You see, and that's what happens. So we are and we're a kingdom. You see, but this is devastating to hear these things. I mean, Deuteronomy 28 is what brought me to the knowledge of that we're the people. I didn't want to believe it. I was like, man, this is cruel. What kind of God would do this? Right? When I was a Christian, I was like, what kind of God would do this? I'm so happy that I'm not these people. And then the revelation, not like the book of Revelation, but the knowledge came to me and said, well, you're the people. That's you. It's like, what? And I read it again and I read it again. It's like, yeah, that's you. That's you. You know, I'm experiencing right now. You know, it didn't say it in English, but in Hebrew, it talks about how Yah says, I'm going to put inflammation on you. I'm going to put inflammation on. I'm going to give you diseases that you don't even never heard of. I'm going to put diseases on your people that they're not even written in the Torah. I'm going to put stuff on you guys that you never know about. You see? And when he's talking about bringing us back, he's talking about bringing us to heal us from these things. That's why he says, when I come and get you, you got all kind of wounds. You guys are wounded. You know, and when I bring you back, I'm going to bandage you up. I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to bring you to the land. I'm going to restore you. I'm going to give you your fortunes. I'm going to increase all these different things. There's a lot that you and I have to go through. So just like we went through this painstaking, you know, experience being in, you know, scattered among the nations and being in slavery, you know, and a lot of our people, listen to me carefully, a lot of our people are still in slavery. See, we don't even know about that. A lot of Israel is still in slavery. Still, you and I are still captive. You know, we might have jobs, we might have, you know, good things going on, houses and cars, but we're slaves. We don't have a, you know, we don't have a leader. We don't have a king. We don't have none of that. We don't have a military. We're barely hanging on to our only name that we have. So the situation for us is dire. It's not what people think it is. That's why he doesn't want us playing games as if everything is okay. Because once you get settled in, like, well, it's okay, you know, well, I didn't want to have to deal with those cows and those goats and those sheep anyway. So it's cool. You know, I'm good. I'm good on that. I don't want to do that work anyway. And a lot of people get angry when I tell them, when you get back to the land, it's exactly what you go be doing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, many people are emotionally and mentally enslaved. Yeah. Drug addiction, all kind of problems, mental problems. You see our people, you go look up on YouTube in California, in Oakland, and Los Angeles, and look at the homeless people. They're out of their minds. You see, and that's all on over here in the West Coast. So, and I can imagine you guys have a lot of homeless people in Texas.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, out here it's bad. Out here is bad. This is bad, you guys. This is bad stuff. Okay. So I know my mental health professionals here, my doctors are telling me, yeah, it is the truth. So our people are disenfranchised and it's bad. It's not even funny. It's really bad. So, you know, that's our issue. Well, we're going to come out of that. You know, Maisha, she was like, no, let's don't, you know, talk about the blessing. I'm like, no, I mean, we got to talk about what he wants us to know. Like, it's bad for you guys. I want you to know that if you do something to me and you abandon me, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to destroy you. That's the deal. That's the deal. I love you, but the love is predicated upon obedience. Other than that, this ain't no free ride. I am the king of the universe, so I demand worship and service and loyalty. And if I can't get loyalty and service and all that, you've decided to become an enemy to me. And that's on you. So that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is, you guys. You understand? That's what it is. If you're from a animal kingdom, say we were lions, right? Are lions and hyenas friends? What happens to a lion that betrayed? You guys saw Lion King. I ain't gonna hold you up. What happens to a lion that went to go be friends with the hyena? You're gone. It's against nature. It's not gonna happen. Okay. Anyway, much love, Lila Tov, to you guys. Yeah, someone said we think Yah is cruel, but think about how cruel. Okay, but think about how cruel he thinks we were in our fraternity. Yes. Man, I couldn't have said it any better, for turning our backs on him and everything we did and everything he did for us. We're the ones. It's not him, it's us. Because
Right.
listen, it ain't me, it's you. I told you. I mean, 28's a warning. Is that love? Yeah, I've warned you. I told you. You can't say I never told you. I told you, and I'm going to tell you some more stuff. It's just a matter of whether you want to, trust what I said.
That's true, because he could have just wiped us out with no warning.
Yeah, he gave, that's a warning. It's, people don't want to read the curses. No, those are the warnings. I saw Yah's character. I better not play around. You know what I'm talking about, Dr. You read, mama say something and boom, boy, don't you play. If I told you. Did I tell you? You see what I'm saying? And then when it comes, don't be surprised. You feel me? So that's what it is, you guys. Lila Tov, I love each and every last one of you. I'll see you in Shabbat.